Hello, hello. Today on the menu we have this beautiful round bag and it's super easy to make it. So follow along. You'll need some t-shirt yarn or any yarn of your choice. And you're going to have to create this circle. And first you're going to start with a 5 or 6 millimeter hook and a t-shirt yarn that's either 3 centimeters wide or any width for that matter. We're going to start with a magic circle, and into that magic circle we're going to insert 6 single crochets. And once 6 single crochets are in the magic circle, just pull that little tail and secure it tightly. Now we need to put the circle together. So you're going to put your hook through that first chain that you made, that first single crochet, and you're going to pull the yarn through. Make this tail a little bit longer because it's going to be easier. And once you have it, you're going to pull the entire first row through that loop, and then you're going to pull the working yarn. And once you pull the working yarn, you're going to have this tail left and pull that loop, and now you have a perfect circle without a seam. This is practically what we're going to repeat for each and every circle when we end it. And now for the second row, you're going to insert your hook in the first space, but in between them, like you have these little this little V, and in between those little legs of that V, if I can call them legs, I don't know. Anyways, just do it the way I did it, and we're going to insert 2 single crochets in each of these chain spaces. So each and every one is going to go right in between those little V's. At the beginning it might feel a little bit strange and maybe not that easy to pull it through, but trust me, it's going to look much prettier this way. So 2 single crochets in each stitch, which will make it 12 stitches at the end. I mean at the end of this second row. Okay, and now we are starting the third row, sorry, and we're going to have an increase in every second stitch. I started this row with 2 single crochets in one stitch, but you don't really have to do that. You can add that last stitch at the end, and that's going to be perfectly fine, maybe even better. So then we have 1 single crochet, and after that we have 2 single crochets in one stitch, and we're going to continue this until the end. So previous row had 12, so this is going to increase it by 6, which means that we're going to have 18 stitches at the end of this row. So again, we're going to repeat the same thing. Pull this working yarn through and then pull the whole circle through that loop. Secure the loop by pulling the working yarn on one side and then pulling it on the other. And your circle is slowly starting to form. Row 4, we're going to have increase in every third stitch. That means we're going to have 2 single crochets, and the third one is going to be an increase, which means it's going to have 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And here we are at the end. I'm sorry I'm out of frame, but pretty much the same thing we did before. You're going to pull your working yarn through that first single crochet, and then you're going to secure it first on the side of the working yarn, and then again. Row 5 is going to be an increase in every fourth stitch. So you're going to have 3 single crochets, and the fourth one is going to be an increase. So you're going to have 2 single crochets in that stitch. You're going to continue this until the end of the row. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And here we are at the end. We're going to pull that yarn a little bit out, and we're going to pull the hook through that first single crochet of this row and pull this little loop through. Make it bigger and pull the whole circle through that loop and secure it tightly. And now we're going to start with the 6th row. So practically for each row, you're just going to move up by 1 stitch where you're going to put your increase. So in this row, we're going to have an increase in every 5th stitch. So you're going to have 4 single crochets, and the 5th one is going to be an increase, and so on. So the next row is going to be increase in the 6th stitch, and then the 7th, and so on until you reach your desired width of the circle. And here we are at the end. Again, pull your hook through and pull the yarn through that first single crochet of this row, and then pull the entire circle through that loop and secure your yarn. Here you can work this circle a little bit to make it to accommodate it to be flat. Here I have 2 circles, but I realized that they were a little bit too small, so I decided to go extra row, the 7th row, increase in every 6th stitch. As I said, you can continue working like this, or you can stay here. It's totally up to you. These circles actually can be made into coasters. If you want to gift someone coasters, this would be a very cute gift. You can make them in different colors. You can make different patterns. It's totally up to you. The principle is the same. You would just need to add other color yarn, and the size of this is going to depend on your desired purpose for this. If it's for the purse, for a bag, you can go bigger, you can go smaller, or if it's for a coaster, or it can be even a placemat. So you can decide. This will be a very good gift for anyone who has a kitchen, which I believe is everyone. So let's get back to the bag. So right now I have the circle, the desired size, and I increased the other one as well. And now I have 2 identical circles. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this working yarn. I'm going to pull the hook through one of the single crochets, and I'm going to chain 1. Well, I'm going to kind of attach it, and then I'm going to chain 15. So in total, it's going to be with this first one 16, but it's actually 15 because we don't really count this first one. Anyways, you can chain less than this. You can chain 13. You can chain any number that you like. I wanted the bag to be a little bit bigger. So the bigger you go, the longer you go, the bigger the bag is going to be. So now you just need to take the other circle and pull the hook anywhere, but make sure that your circle is facing upwards. So you're going to do it on top. You're not going to do it from the bottom, you're going to do it on top, and you're just going to slip stitch. Just pull your yarn through both of these loops, and now you're going to chain 1. This is the turning chain. For the first 2 chain spaces, we're going to do a slip stitch. So 1 and 2. And now we're going to do single crochets. You can do single, you can do half double crochets, but just don't do double crochet, because that one, it's not going to work. And try to work very tightly, like really crochet this very tightly, because you want this to keep the shape. And that's why t-shirt yarn is very good for this. And then when we reach the end of the row, we're going to repeat the same. For the last 2 stitches, we're going to have 2 slip stitches instead of 2 single crochets. So for the last 2, just add a slip stitch, well, 2 slip stitches. And here it is. Slip stitch 1, slip stitch 2. I think I made a mistake here and I slip stitched into that first chain, which was not supposed to happen, but anyways, I did fix it later. And now you're just going to put your needle through the next available chain space, and you're going to secure it with a slip stitch, and then you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work, and you're going to continue doing the same, just that now you're going to catch this back loop, only the back loop. And again, you're going to start with the slip stitch, 2 of them, and then you're going to work single crochet all the way to the end. And for the last 2 stitches, you are going to do again 2 slip stitches for the last 2 chain spaces. I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense. It's very hard for me to focus and I'm not writing my script for this. So as you can see, these are 2 slip stitches, and now I'm going to connect this portion to connect this part to the circle again with a slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. So this is what we are working with now, and this is what it looks like when it's done. It's adorable. Once we do everything, it is advisable to do a row of slip stitches all around the opening part of the bag. This is going to help the bag have more stability and keep its shape for a longer time, and it also looks prettier, honestly. This might be a little bit boring, but anyways, I wanted to show you how I did it because not everyone knows the terminology. And trust me, this is very easy to do. I am not a professional by no means. I've been working with yarn for some time, but I'm far from professional, and if I can do it, you can do it. Anyways, after you finish the row, you are going to secure it tightly and cut off the excess yarn. And this is what it looks like so far. So here I was thinking what I should do about the straps, and I decided that I wanted to make them a little bit different. So I bought this, I don't know if it's a 0 or it's an O, at a local craft store, and I wanted a letter D, but I didn't have it, so O it is. And this makes my purse look like an 8, a number 8, which is, I think, adorable. But anyways, you're going to secure it like this, and you're going to start creating these little loops around. I'm sorry, this is very difficult to record, but I did my best. So you're going to pull the yarn, and then you're going to pull it on the other side as well, and then you're going to secure it. In this way, it's creating more volume and it's covering more space. So yarn over once, yarn over twice, and pull through. And you're going to do it until you reach the desired width. I wanted to cover this bottom part, and I think I had like 12 of these chains in total when I counted them. I don't know how many of these little threads it is, but it's 12 chains. So when you count the top part, it's 12 little chain spaces. And this is what it looks like right now. I think I had to fix it a little bit later, but this is pretty much what it is. Hide the working yarn at the start point, that little tail. And now once you do it, do the other one as well, and we're going to put it together to the to the bag, to the purse. And we're going to do it again with slip stitches. First, pull the tail of your working yarn on the inside because it needs to be there. And you're going to start literally sewing it. You can do this with a needle that's meant for the yarn. You don't have to use the hook, and I think it's even easier with the needle, but okay, I like to do things in a more difficult way. I like to complicate everything. Anyways, this is all you need to do. You just need to slip stitch into every chain space. That's 12 chain spaces that I have here, and pull them through the bag. Decide where it needs to go. You can try to secure it first with something, with a pin, so it doesn't move, or just pay attention so it's not crooked once you finish. And here it is, almost done. And I'm showing you how to do this in case you want to see the whole process. I did skip a little bit. And you need to just secure your yarn, just pull it through and tie it in the back. And you're going to do the same thing for the other side. And here it is, pretty much done. If you desire so, you can also put some lining, but that's not really necessary. It works fine without it. And for me, pretty much this is it. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. If you did so, please comment, like, subscribe, and share. It means so much for my channel. Hope to see you soon. Bye!